Welcome to the Pirate Broadcast. We're here. We're going to be talking about fashion today. We're going to be talking about all of the things that go into the business model and how it works, and also just some principles and good practices for entrepreneurs in today. So don't go away. Jump in. Stick around for the Pirate Broadcast. Welcome to the Pirate Broadcast, where we interview interesting people doing interesting things, where you can expand your connections, your community. Kindness is cool and smiles are free. And let's get this party started. And we're going to have a great time, Liza. How are you doing today?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Excellent. Thank you for joining me. I know it's early for some people, and I just wanted to get the day started right off and get the place, hopping here before we wrap up the end of the year. So hopefully you've had a phenomenal 2021. I know it's crazy for a lot of us, and so tell us a little bit about why you're here being a pirate today.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me.
You bet.
I love pirates.
Well, my kind of pirates are very kind and they're considerate, and they want to help more people. So
Yeah. Oh, well, I love their fashion. I love how they dress. So.
yes. They do have a fashion sense, right?
Oh yeah, you can spot a pirate from a mile away.
Yeah.
2021 was great. I think adversity or change, there's nothing wrong with it. It's tough though, in the sense that it's hard to see certain things happen, like bad things happen to companies or people that sort of struggled along the way and stuff. So in that way, it's a bit heartbreaking. I'm lucky enough to be in New York right now visiting friends. And, I took a walk in the old neighborhood that I used to live, and it's hard to see, like a lot of places have shut down, a lot for rent. So that's sad.
Yeah. I know that, within every change and challenge, there's opportunity. So how, as a business owner, have you taken the challenges and, kind of step back and say, wow, this is interesting. What are we going to do about it? And a lot of people have let go of things that they really didn't need or wasn't being served, and they're not using everything that they think they need. And so, how has that affected your industry, and how has it impacted your business?
Well, for the fashion industry, you really saw people invest in their online presence. So, they really doubled down on e-commerce. You saw them shutting down certain brick and mortars that were, just staying afloat. So exactly like what you said, when certain challenges happened or, adversity happens, it makes the math a little bit easier to read and sort of be like, well, let's dispose of this because it's not worth what we're putting into it for what we're getting out of it. It makes that decision a lot easier.
Yeah.
It lets you take emotion out of the game because you don't have the luxury of emotion when that kind of adaptation is happening. And a lot of companies, I think, sort of did incredibly well. Like any of the leisure companies or loungewear companies, skyrocketed. I think Lululemon's stock price went up huge over COVID.
Oh, I could imagine so. I mean,
I checked it before I flew because someone said to me it was in the 300s. It's 391 3 days ago, 391.
Wow.
Which is so, but again, loungewear, leisure wear, active wear. Above my school on the second floor is Vancouver Running Co. And, their business grew a lot over COVID because people had time to run, working from home. So I remember at the beginning of it, he was uncertain of what would happen. And I don't think he was expecting the fact that, business would not only survive, but really thrive.
Yeah.
There's a lot of luck involved in that too, depending upon what you do.
Yes. Taking action and positioning and and anticipating, because I mean, every day is a gift, as far as I know, as far as I'm concerned, is every day is a gift, and we have to have a little gratitude in all the things we do. And as a business owner, we really need to be able to see around the corners and know, okay, if this happens, I have a contingency. If that happens, I have a contingency. Some of the weather alone, you speak about Vancouver. Vancouver was hit pretty hard with weather this year, as well as, a lot of people in manufacturing processes in the southeast, and all of these things that we don't have control over, we do still have control over how we react to it. So as a business owner, how have you thought through your process and evolved and engaged in some of these challenges?
Well, when things, I'm going to talk about when things don't work out, because when things work out, we're always happy and all that stuff. But when things don't work out the way you wanted them to work out, you're mad, you're angry, you're sad, you're boo-hooing about it, you're, blaming yourself, you go into victim mode. Hopefully, all this shit happens in private.
Yeah, no kidding.
But you need that time to really process the fact that things didn't work out. The biggest thing after 30 years of having my own businesses that I have learned is, or that I've come to accept, or that is an epiphany, whichever one, is a lot of success has to do with luck, and a lot of failure has to do with luck.
Mm,
For example, the agriculture business in Vancouver that was hit so hard with just in November, that's just bad luck.
yeah,
I mean, families had been in farming for however many generations, 2 generations, whatever it is. But the point is, farms were underwater.
yeah.
There's nothing you could have done to fix that.
Pre-plan that.
No. And so sometimes you do really just have to accept that it's just bad luck or bad timing. So, um, we got our DLI. So for our fashion school, we got our DLI, which is a designation where the government approves you, which means international students can get a student number to come to your school. We got it like 4 months before COVID hit. So obviously there's been no international students for 2 years. That's just bad timing.
Yeah.
So, and there's nothing you can do with that. One would say, well, a pandemic was around the corner, but really the pandemic that we're experiencing is a 1 in 100-year thing. Like nobody's seen, who's alive, the world completely shut down as we know it. So no, you'd have to be quite a genius to have anticipated that, So at some point you just need to pivot. You need
Yeah.
which, is a word that I like and I don't like. I mean, pivot to what? Like if you're a school, pivot to what?
Yeah.
You're a school. So it so happens that manufacturing is my background. So we got really busy manufacturing masks for people and for ourselves, but that wasn't any genius of mine. It's just, I'm a manufacturer. So that's what we did. But I think that that's a big thing. Like you can overspend. I overspend all the time. That's something, yes, you can put your finger on, but I really don't think that there's enough. You really, not just to be a little gentle on yourself, but at the end of the day, timing and luck have a lot to do with factoring in however you're going to pivot or whatever your business is going to be. I think we in general need to talk or be more aware of luck and timing.
How much around the idea of being consistent and showing up on a regular basis makes it a difference? Networking in fashion, I have to imagine, is important, and knowing who to talk to in which organizations, and how to navigate through those supply chain issues has to be a big part of the process in fashion. So Is that something that you've had to deal with in the last couple of years?
Oh yeah. But going back to your showing up, I personally think it's 98% of everything, no matter, no
Yeah.
matter what you're doing.
It's just
Whether
good practice.
whether it be parenting to business to, school, it's, that's the biggest skill set that sometimes I'm seeing is lacking when, with our students. You sort of see not just our, I shouldn't say that, not like with a younger generation,
Mhm.
showing up and doing what you're supposed to do, even the not fun stuff is, is vital.
Yeah.
The networking, I think it's that way for any business. Networking, when I lived in New York, networking and like putting yourself out there, it was really something that was, Americans talk about it so openly. And whereas Canadians, networking was something that you didn't really speak about in the same way as Americans do.
Mm.
Showing up and doing what you do is great. Some people are really good at networking and some people aren't, meaning networking truly is meeting people and seeing what they can do for you, what you can do for them. Some people aren't really comfortable with that.
Yeah.
So I'm always of that mind. And it's, you need that in any business to either hire somebody that's good at it if you're not, because you do need those bridges and those connections and those links
Yeah.
if you're not the one that's good at it. But showing up, again, to hire somebody good, you need to show up for whatever it is you're doing for that person to be, great as well.
I love that. And speaking of showing up, we got a few people in the room. Michael Baker's here. Good morning, Pirates. Terrific Tuesdays with Russ. It's always a great way. Hyatt Ives, haven't seen you in a long time. He's in from Houston, Texas. Good morning, fellow Pirates. Happy holidays. Yeah, seeing gratitude makes 2022 planning that much more exciting. Michael Baker says streamlining the processes require evaluating and reevaluating most everything involved in the process. Absolutely. Elise, are you back home in South Africa? Let me know. I just want to check in. And Dee Dee, Silver Fox Talks, rocks. She rocks from Florida. Thank you. Hey, DJ, great interview with you and Gabe the other day. I missed it, but I saw the replay. Thank you so much. Pivoting is just changing the direction or what you're focusing on. Absolutely. Do you remember the first time in your life, Liza, that you imagined being in fashion? Is it something that you've always dreamt of, or is it something that you evolved into? I'm always curious.
I was always drawn to it,
Mm-hmm.
and I was never good at sewing because I'm very impatient. But I always knit and I was impatient there. But the one thing I will say is no matter what I did 100 of it. So if I made a pot holder for a teacher, I then made 50. So I was just telling my girlfriend that I'm staying with here in New York, I had a little baking company when I was 10. So I'd come home from school and make, 4 dozen cookies and sell them in the neighborhood. I literally then did it at a garage sale because I wanted to make 50 dozen cookies. I was 10. So what I was inclined to do was manufacture, and I had an interest in fashion. So before I opened the school, I had factories for 20 years. So I really enjoy making several hundreds or thousands of something, which turned into a bit of a conundrum for me because when I got out of my last factory, I didn't understand the point of what I was doing, And I remember saying to a customer, the last thing the world needs is another polar fleece vest, let alone me making it for you. I just didn't understand it. I didn't understand the consumption. I didn't understand my involvement and being part of it. We were doing about 20,000 units a month at the time, all domestic manufacturing. So it's an interesting thing what I'm inclined, because I'm still inclined to manufacture. I really love that whole production process. It really, I like it. I'm good at it. I'm drawn to it. But then on a philosophical level, I don't see the point. So
Hmm.
so the first time, yeah, I remember I love going shopping with my mom. I love seeing things. I love thinking, can I make it? So I was very drawn to it that way.
Is it primarily in the fashion industry, though? Is it the manufacturing is primarily in the fashion industry?
For what I've done, yes, it's always
Okay.
been in the apparel industry. So we used to have a line in Costco, which was loads of fun.
Yeah.
They did 150,000 units, across two styles. It was just like crazy.
Yeah. No kidding. That has to be exciting, though, watching it all come together and finding out that it can be done, and I accomplished this, and certain satisfaction involved in that.
There
Um,
is. So when I sold my factories, like 50, whatever it was, in 2002, I moved to New York in 2003 to be a film producer. And I did produce two films.
awesome.
And what I learned was that formula of how you get something like from an idea to 20,000 units a month, or from an idea to a script to a film, is really the same process. I think that was probably the most beneficial thing about trying something different and going into film. Film is it's a very difficult industry and all that
Yeah.
stuff. However, in any industry, when you see something come together and that final product, it's really, yeah, it's a cool feeling where it's like, you know, it's amazing no matter what the industry, I feel.
I relate it back to project management, whether it's construction, manufacturing, software design, film. It's a project. Everything has a task and a step and a dependency. You
Yeah.
have to do A before B, and sometimes you can do parallel processes, and sometimes you can do things at the same time.
The
But
biggest
it's
thing too,
fascinating. Yeah,
it's fascinating. And I think that, you know, the difficult thing about film is it takes 30 people to 300 people, and it's a collaboration. So you really are reliant on all these different people.
yeah.
So the management of those personalities really is, uh, you know, that's hard work.
That- That's navigating the maze,
Yeah.
right?
And manufacturing is the same thing. You're the personalities come into effect a little bit less. They're still there, but
Mhm.
you know, there's a certain type of personality that does certain operations. So, which is the same in film.
Yeah,
However, the big thing is there is a boss and a leader. Like there's a producer
yeah.
or there's a boss. So, because when things go right or when things go wrong, everybody looks at that person and like, what do we do? Or, and this, I think, and the reason I'm bringing this up is because the climate's changing, in the sense that once upon a time, it was a lot easier. And I don't mean this in a bad way. Like, yes, a lot of bad things happen, but you could be a boss. Like, you can't always be nice when you're a boss. You're not always super pleasant.
Right.
Sometimes you have to make super hard decisions. There's a lot of money on the line, blah, 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 blah. Now there's a big sort of kumbaya. Everyone's got to be super nice. Leadership is, and that's where I say that project management, or that project management person, there's a different set of skills now that I feel will need to be taught to be able to manage groups of people
Yeah.
uh, efficiently and politically correctly.
It's more about collaboration than management.
Yeah, my point is that sounds great, but when shit hits the fan, you still need that boss and that leader to get you out of the mess you're in.
Yeah,
And that's not collaboration. That's someone that's making decisions.
that's
On,
leadership.
that's leadership.
Yeah, yeah. So how did you build a bridge from manufacturing thousands of pieces of material into clothing and selling at Costco to film? I want to find out what that gap in that that chain of custody is, that leap of faith that happened in the
So when I
process.
when I first started my factory, um, I was like I'd taken out loans and stuff, and I started doing wardrobe for film because you can make good money that way just to pay off my loans, which I did. And I was very inclined to the producer's job. And so when I sold everything, I thought, if I don't try it now, I never will. And I always wanted to live in New York. It was a big leap. Like, I moved to New York. I didn't know anybody. I had no visa, no nothing. I packed 2 bags and sold everything I had in Vancouver and moved to New York. I remember I phoned my best friend. And when I landed, I was at a bar having a beer, and I phoned him and said, "What have I done?" And it was a phenomenal experience. And it was a phenomenal experience sort of venturing out into film. And, I really loved it. It's just, I really enjoy producing. And in film, especially in independent film, you're always looking for money. And that's not my personality.
Yeah.
So whatever I did, I always used my own money. And I don't have enough money to produce a film. So after, a little while, it was just, and fashion kept coming to me. So like, I was on the train coming back from Connecticut from a meeting, and I was on the phone with a headhunter because J. Crew was looking for a domestic production specialist. And when I hung up the phone, the lady next to me said, "I'm starting a exercise line. I need somebody to help me. Can I hire you as my consultant?" And from there, my consulting business grew in New York for startup fashion brands. And that went on for 10 years while I was here. And my clients did really well. Like, they got into WWD, they got into Saks, Nordstrom's, they got on the Oprah Winfrey Show. Like, they, I had a niche for it, which is how the school came about. Because a lot of my clients said, the way you consult, you've taught me. I would consult them so that within 8-9 months, they didn't need me anymore. Because in the back of my head, I thought, I'm going to go back into film.
Yeah.
Not a great business model.
But I love the story. That's a tremendous story. And that proves my point. I always share this point, Liza, is you're just one conversation away. With almost anything, you're just so close. You're closer than you think to getting some of the things that you're looking for or searching for.
And putting yourself out there. Like, a lot of my friends have said, how did you get this or how did you get that? So I had gone to this film 2-day seminar. So I said, after about 6 years of consulting here with a lot of the stuff, I consulted for Jay McCarroll, who was the winner of Project Runway Season 1. Really great guy, very talented. And he said, I've learned more from you in an hour than I did, at my apprenticeship at Banana Republic or wherever it was. You should teach this. And I thought, yeah, you know what? I should teach this. I've been told that before by other clients. So I put together a 2-day how to start your own business seminar. And I'd had some experience because speaking, because I'd spoken at trade shows, how to manufacture in the city you live in. But I hadn't done something where I'm speaking for 2 days. Anyway, I invested in myself. I took out $20,000 worth of ads in Women's Wear Daily. And I produced it in LA and New York. And from there, Courtney Love contacted me. She wanted to come to the LA seminar. And so I said to her assistant, look, I think she'll throw everybody else off. So do you mind if I just meet with her separate for what she wants to do? Because it's going to wreck the experience for everybody else. Yeah. Not wreck, but you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Yeah, having a celebrity in the classroom.
My seminars had 40 or 50 people in them. And then you have Courtney that's going to everyone else is going to be pissed off and want their $250 back. She's a big personality. But that happened because I put myself out there. Right. And from those seminars, I got more and more and more clients. And more clients started doing better and better and better.
It's staying in the game. And when I think of production and I think of classrooms and training, You could do some great online training, I would imagine, with the skill that you have and the accumulation of the film industry and seeing the scripts and everything that go along with that. Have you considered doing something along those lines as
Oh
well?
yeah, yeah. When COVID happened, we still do in-person classes, but we
Uh-huh.
offer live online, which is phenomenal because even for pattern making, we have people that take it virtual,
Yeah.
and their work is as good as the people that come to class. So the whole studio set up with rally cams and the big, smart TV. So it truly is like you're in the classroom. They see all the other students' work that are there physically. So pattern making is the only one that um, people would be like, really, can I do that online? For example, marketing, obviously you can do online with the
Yeah.
teacher. And you're live like this online.
Hmm.
So it's not like you're just listening to recorded stuff.
Yeah.
uh, Product dev. Our product development and sourcing and manufacturing certificate, I personally think there's nothing like it. They actually produce 3 items of clothing in a domestic studio, and they produce 3 items of clothing in an overseas studio. It's an amazing certificate. It's an amazing program. But like
That-
fashion design, creative direction, sketching, all of that is live online as well, is offered live online. And then I teach my launch your line, all
mm,
virtual live online.
that's fantastic. My experience in fashion was when I was a musician, and I went down and I bought a bolt of fabric and made band T-shirts out of it, and I would manufacture. Then I'd silk screen these T-shirts and sell them to the crowds, and
I
go
bet you
in.
did well. I bet you did well.
I did well, and it paid for a lot of the lights to be on. And the fun thing about it was I just borrowed my mom's serger and ripped out a pattern and just produced 500-600 shirts at a time, and
It's
then just
putting, it is. It's
just
putting your. I'll tell you a story. When I first started consulting, when I first moved here,
uh-huh.
um, that lady that saw me in the train introduced me to her merchandising person. Anyways, the
Uh-huh.
merchandising person said, "Speak at this fabric trade show, how to manufacture." So we're talking 2005.
Okay.
So back then, people were manufacturing still wasn't as transparent as it is now. I mean, it still isn't transparent. Companies are saying it's transparent as a marketing thing, but whatever. Anyway, different
Right.
story. So there was this girl that was in the fabric thing, young girl, like she couldn't have been more than 23, 24. She phoned me after and said, "Can I have a consulting session with you?" Sure. So she came to my apartment and she made these hobo bags. And she would sew, like she had a full-time job, but she just loved sewing.
Mm.
So she would sew 2 or 3 bags a night when she came home. She'd go to the garment district, buy some fabric, come home, cut. So my nephew could have done a better sewing job. But she had this screen print on the outside, and she had 2 sizes of bag. And this is 2005. So Yahoo was the big search engine then. And it was Yahoo e-commerce sites, and it wasn't really e-commerce like it is today. It was
Right.
all PayPal. It was a digital camera that she used to take the pictures. It was super, I mean, in comparison, super primitive to what we have now.
Sure.
It was a hobbled together site. And in New York they have street fairs in the summer. So back then there was a blog called Daily Candy, which was a really big blog here. And they had it in New York, LA, San Francisco, Chicago. She had Daily Candy in all these different cities. Anyways, one of her editors had walked by the street fair, picked up this girl's bag, and she had written her website in each of the bags and just gave a mention. Just gave a mention. Found this great hobo bag at a street fair. She sold 600 on her Yahoo website, money in her PayPal account, and she had no idea how she was going to get them made.
Oh, what
I
a
mean, but that's
problem to have.
amazing. And that's
So
just putting yourself out there.
yeah, it's amazing. Well, Lisa, I really appreciate the story and the connection, and I love connecting with people like yourself because interesting people doing interesting things, and it's fascinating to me how it all works because a lot of people don't understand or appreciate all of the work that goes into the daily things that we see all around us.
Yeah.
Our clothes that we wear, the glasses we have, all of the things that have to show up in our door, and it's like a lot of people don't understand and appreciate all of the work that goes into it. So thank you for sharing this today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
And I love it. I look forward to catching up. So what's the next step for you? What's on the agenda for 2022 for you?
What's on the agenda for it's actually quite exciting. So in my Launch Your Line class, what it is people that have ideas that want to start their own brand. And what I've started doing is partnering with a couple that I feel are amazing concepts or ideas, and they just need a little bit of support and back-end logistics. So the first one is called Black Table, and it's code-approved, comfortable clothing for the service industry.
Mhm.
Really great dresses, skirts, and dresses for women. We're going to be doing men for the next go, but right now it's just women. But for like Cactus Club or Joey's or Earl's, those types of restaurants, it has to be code approved.
Mm,
So
got it.
that's the big thing for restaurants. So this girl came, she was a waitress, she put together the whole thing and then got a little bit nervous with COVID. So I said, you know what, I'll partner with you. I think this is an amazing concept.
Yeah.
So we're launching the website in January, and that's very exciting. And then another student had an idea for a non-gender specific underwear line for toddlers and preteens.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
Well, you'll have to come back. You're going to have to come back and give us updates on a regular basis.
I will definitely.
We'll call it a fashion corner update. So
I will definitely. Thank you so much for having me.
yeah, and if you ever need, a remote producer, you need somebody to help you, your lines or your people in your network need live stream production, or they want to work on content, let me know. I'm happy to help and contribute.
Oh, I will definitely. That'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah. And I just want to give a shout out. Howard Kaufman was saying that fashion and design are great leading indicators for overall trend identification too. Absolutely. Andrew says, Russ, it's awesome that you made t-shirts from scratch. It's pretty fun when you see a crowd of, you're in a bar playing music and half the crowd is wearing your t-shirt. So it's like,
yes, that is really cool.
Jenny Gold says, I remember Daily Candy in LA, loved it. So Michael Baker, you never know until you try. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Lisa, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for being here, and have fun in New York. Enjoy your trip and travels, and be safe and sane, and Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.
Really want to look forward to all the, a prosperous 2022, and wishing you all the best. And so don't hesitate to reach out and connect with us, share this, like this, or share it with somebody that needs to hear it. And always, as always, kindness is cool. Smiles are free. So you enjoy the day. Take care.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining the Pirate Broadcast. If you found this content valuable, please like, comment, and share it across your social media channels. I would love the opportunity to help others grow in their business. The Pirate Syndicate is a platform where you show up, we produce the show. It's that easy. If you want to be seen, be heard, and be talked about, join the Pirate Syndicate today.